This is IGN. We're only 1 month into 2025, and for comic book fans, that means we still have 11 months of major releases from publishers of all types. And it's shaping up to be a huge year for the industry. Here is our list of 7 of the most anticipated comics of 2025. We begin with Doctor Doom: One World Under Doom. With Doctor Doom poised to make his MCU debut soon, it's only fitting that Marvel Comics put the spotlight back on this iconic villain. One World Under Doom is a crossover in the vein of 2009's Dark Reign. It explores what happens when Doom becomes the new Sorcerer Supreme and uses his powers to declare himself Emperor of the world. Naturally, the Avengers won't be too pleased about this turn of events, but what do they do when it turns out plenty of people are happier living under Doom's rule? The core crossover will unfold in Ryan North and R.B. Silva's 9-issue series One World Under Doom, which launches in February. Look for the effects of that story to spill out into a number of Marvel titles in early 2025. Next, it's Batman Hush 2. The original Batman Hush is undoubtedly one of the most iconic Batman comics ever published, as it effectively established the look and tone for the franchise in the 21st century. So it's a pretty big deal that DC is finally getting around to publishing a sequel 23 years later. Granted, it's not as if DC hasn't published stories featuring Bruce Wayne's childhood friend turned bitter enemy Tommy Elliot in the years since Hush wrapped, but this is the first one to bring back writer Jeff Loeb and artist Jim Lee. Hush 2 again puts Batman at the center of a vast conspiracy orchestrated by Hush, one that also involves many of his closest allies and greatest foes. As excited as we are for Hush 2, we're also eager to see what comes after. Hush 2 kicks off in March with Batman 158 and runs for 6 issues. Our list of the most anticipated comics of 2025 continues with The Ultimate Universe Expands. As we've recently argued, The Ultimate Universe is the best thing Marvel is currently publishing, so of course we're stoked to see what the line has in store for us this year. The big news is that Marvel added a 5th monthly Ultimate title in January, Ultimate Wolverine. In this distorted version of the Marvel Universe, Logan has become the Winter Soldier, a pawn of the Maker's Council. But can even these shadowy overlords contain the beast within elsewhere? Look for the entire Ultimate line to continue progressing in real time as these books count down to the inevitable return of the Maker. We'll even see the first major Ultimate Universe crossover this summer, a storyline that'll be teased in one of Marvel's free Comic Book Day specials in May. Up next, it's the return of Vertigo. Comic book fans the world over were crushed when DC folded the hugely influential Vertigo imprint in 2019, which is why it was so exciting to learn that Vertigo is making a comeback in 2025. Once again, the Vertigo line will serve as a haven for groundbreaking, mature readers-focused comics at DC. The only catch is that we don't yet know what books will comprise the Vertigo line. Will we see more creator-owned titles join the Vertigo line? Will classic franchises like Swamp Thing and Hellblazer find a home here? We hope to learn more soon. Moving on to the next comic, Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine is one of the highest-grossing superhero movies of all time, so of course Marvel's going to exploit that partnership for all it's worth. Logan and Wade Wilson are back in action and joined at the hip in this new ongoing series. Better yet, Deadpool and Wolverine harkens back to the X-Men's Krakoan era, as it reunites the X-Force creative team of writer Benjamin Percy and artist Joshua Cassara. Expect a superhero comic that's as uproariously funny as it is dark and violent. We'd expect nothing less from these two anti-heroes. Next, You Must Take Part in Revolution. In many ways, the world of 2025 is a scary place, and it's tempting to rely on comics solely as a means of escapism. But there's a lot to be said for a book that can teach us how to navigate these troubling times. That's where You Must Take Part in Revolution comes in. This politically charged graphic novel is set in a 2035 where the U.S. has devolved into a fascist dystopia and is locked in a war with China over control of Taiwan. 3 friends must choose where they stand and how best to resist in an age of authoritarianism. You Must Take Part in Revolution hits stores in March. And last on our list, but certainly not least, it's Star Wars: Legacy of Vader. Charles Soule has explored many eras of the Star Wars timeline in his tenure at Marvel, but now he's tasked with fleshing out the mysterious year between the events of The Last Jedi and the rise of Skywalker. That's the setting for Star Wars: Legacy of Vader. Legacy of Vader focuses on Kylo Ren as he solidifies his grip on the First Order in the wake of Supreme Leader Snoke's assassination. But following his latest encounter with Rey and his final battle with his uncle, Ben Solo is more tormented by the past than ever. We can't wait to see what new layers this series adds to Kylo Ren in the events of The Rise of Skywalker. What's your most anticipated comic or graphic novel of 2025? Head over to IGN.com and cast your vote in our poll. My name is Tony Jackson, and if you want more news on your favorite games and entertainment topics, make sure to visit us at IGN.com. You can also download our free app on your phone or console and subscribe to our weekly podcast through the podcast service of your choice.
Spoken Layer.